We're gamers, we like games, we play games because we're gamers. We got no lives, we've got jobs, this is our hub.
Hi, fucking hello everybody, it's Fep up here, and we are doing another how-to. Today, we're going to go over something a little bit more interesting. So, anybody who does YouTube long enough eventually may come across some sort of a channel issue, like a copyright strike or a community guidelines issue. So today I'm going to show you how to deal with it, where to find some of the information you may need, and what you can and can't do a little bit. Now, I've only dealt really with the copyright issues, and I'll go into it. So first you go to YouTube.
Not that.
We would go to YouTube. Now I'm pulled up to my channel, and you go to Creator Studio. Now from here, and I'm doing terrible. From here, Creator Studio, you go to Video Manager. You can see what videos have shown copyright disputes. Now you go to Copyright Notices, and I usually have a lot of them because you can see the trend. What have we got here? Ocarina of Time, Death Note, and this how-to, which is actually this bullshit one. We'll get more into that later. But these all have copyright disputes. Now, them being that a company has claimed I illegitimately use their intellectual property. Of course, I dispute fair use. So what you can do is you can look at the copyright thing, you look copyright dispute. Now my dispute's in progress. I submitted a dispute, which will have in this section, it'll say it'll say the content, the claimant, Nintendo for me, and the reason why. And then over here it'll say remove or file a dispute, and if the dispute comes back, it'll say file an appeal. Now I've never gotten past that. Usually I succeed with the appeal if the dispute is not accepted. They have lists for other copyright songs and that because typically the content is music, it is sound. Now, you can go here if you want to learn more about your copyright stuff. There should be some info on copyright. No, maybe not. But it would show you. So you go back. So then you would file that. What you would end up doing is you'd be clicking on it, you'd follow a link to it, and it would take you to an area where you will fill out a form, a web form. On this web form, you will be entering your reason for the dispute, and it'll list a few different things from that the content is public domain, that the content is actually yours and you own it, that you have express permission and you provide proof of that, or another thing being is that it is within fair use. Another one is that you own it too, which like if you own the game, I think you're allowed to upload a video of you playing the game, which I do own Ocarina of Time, as well as I have the ROM for it, but I have the ROM because I own it. You are able to file one of these, and then you have to sign an agreement that states that if this is wrongful, if it's proven or found out that it is wrongful or false, that you could face issues. It's essentially acknowledging that if you continue with this in, willfully but falsely, that you could face either fines or civil lawsuits or even potentially legal issues. So, say it's copyright, say it's a claim like mine, or say it's a video game that you played and you've done a Let's Play with, you have your video over it, audio over it, you can hear the in-game sounds and everything else, then you end up uploading the video and you have other things too intercut, and you get a claim. Say it's a Nintendo for hypothetical, and they submit a copyright claim. And you say it's fair use because it was a Let's Play. Let's Play would fall under fair use. You then list, and they give you a small section to explain why you believe it is within fair use, in which case they will then have it submitted. You have to submit some of your information on this form. You have to sign it. It'll ask you like 12 times. If you're sure you want to submit it, you submit it. Another thing that you can do, if it comes back and you have to do an appeal, you then have to go into greater detail, and that's usually the greater detail. Now, the way you want to know is you want to look up this information before you file an appeal, or even before you file a dispute, so you can make sure you are properly submitting the copyright dispute. Now, this is the fair use part is from Section 107 of the Copyright Act, and here's some of the things. I'll just read it aloud. Notwithstanding the provisions of Section 106 and 106A, the fair use of a copyrighted work, including such use by reproduction in copies or phone records or by any other means specified by that section for purposes such as criticism, comment, news reporting, teaching, including multiple copies for classroom use, scholarship, or research, is not an infringement of copyright. In determining whether the use made of the work in any particular case is a fair use, the factors to be construed shall be, and this is where you need to pay attention. Well, obviously, if it's criticism like a review or commentary from the game, or like you play a Let's Play and you offer a review and commentary about the game as you play, the difficulty and such as that, and also it's kind of a guide to how to play, it does fall within fair use just in that. But these are the things you want to look at. 1. The purpose and character of the use, including whether such use is of a commercial nature or is for non-profit educational purposes, which, on YouTube, it would fall more under commercial because they make money on it. 2. The nature of the copyrighted work. 3. The amount and substantiality of the portion used in relation to the copyrighted work as a whole. So what that means is, it usually means how much did you use of it. So 7 seconds, or 10 seconds, or 30 seconds of something that's a few minutes or a few hours long, like say a movie, it's not going to hold up. But if you played the whole movie, you'd have an issue. If you played just the whole song, you'd have an issue. And further, the effect of the use upon the potential market or value of the copyrighted work. And that's a little tricky. Now, that doesn't mean the effect as in you might turn people off to buy it, or they might turn people on to buy it. It doesn't so much mean whether or not you draw people to the product. What it means is this going to compete with the product? And what do I mean by that? Well, as many of you probably know, if you look up music on YouTube, there are a lot of people that post songs, and you hear the song. Maybe they'll have like a slideshow of that band, or if it's from a movie, a slideshow of scenes from the movie, stills from the movie. If it's from a video game, maybe the cover art for the video game, or a slideshow of different art or fan art for the video game, such as that. Now, if it's just that does fall under copyright, and it is actually not authorized. And you still find it because you got to express permission. There's another thing that you can do if you're monetized. You can allow the claimant to collect the money on it. They can elect to allow you to, or if they want you to remove the copyright section, and if it's the whole video, then you have to take the whole video down, or they will block it in case the request of the video be unseen and taken down. But there's a difference between that video, which is strictly using other copyrighted work, the majority or the entirety of the video, and it being an element, or it being an element of review or commentary of some sort. Let's Play would fall under that. Let's Play is where a person plays a video game and offers real-time, so theoretical real-time because it's pre-recorded, but they would be offering, in a sense, real-time review of the game. They would explain how to do things. They would offer, oh, this is beautiful, this is great, this is terrible, this is not so good, this is hard, this is relatively easy, I like this, I don't like this. They'd be able to express opinion, criticism, as well as a little bit of satire upon playing the game. As well as, this is a big key point, and it's a little tricky when you're just playing the video game and don't offer any commentary over it, because while the experience is different for everybody, it's still iffy. But if you do have content over it, you do have commentary over it, it does change it drastically, because you have altered the material to where it cannot just simply be grabbed and used instead of the original copyrighted product. That's where the big change comes, and that's what that has to do with. And that's a key part to it. If you can offer evidence that your use with things like commentary, in-game video game sounds, because usually they don't do the entire video game, they do the song, or a section of a thing, or a little scene. You offer that these things take away from its ability to count as essentially a copy of the original work, you have a lot of pull going your way. Another thing being how much of what they claim is a part of the entire thing. And you can usually find this by looking it up online, looking it up on soundtracks, or, you know, if it's a clip of a movie, it's like, hey, I made a 10-minute video. The movie is 2 hours long. I just used a couple clips here and there. Even if the entire thing was one big clip, how is that any substantial part of that movie or of that TV series, whatever you want to say? That's the main thing. The nature is important too, because the nature of the work and relative to how you used it is really important, and that's mostly with the section 2 and 1, where it's how you used it and what the work is, which another explanation is really important. Now, this is where you might state, this is a visual medium, I used this visual work, but I used it in a way that wasn't, it was interspersed, so it wasn't the complete narrative. Another thing too, as I state, it is a sound. This is for Ocarina of Time. It is a sound that's being claimed, music. The game requires music to be played in order to further the game, in order to further the plot. It is in fact a game mechanic. So it cannot be criticized if you claim it. It is up, and that is open for criticism as well. As I state that the music of the game is open for criticism because it's a part of the art. Another thing to do too is, this is a safe bet in things like this to protect yourself. If you can turn music off, or if you can turn certain things off, or block certain things, it's best to do so, because you do run the risk of being hit. And if you do have ways of turning it off, or is not necessarily directly related to the game or whatever the context that you're using it, say another reason would be like you're playing a Star Wars game and Star Wars music is in during the game. You could claim that, hey, it's a Star Wars game, there's going to be Star Wars music in the game, this is from this game, the game got the license for it, I bought the game and I'm using it to play, it's a part of the experience. You could argue that, but if you're just playing some rock music over it, you do run the risk of being claimed on the rock music. It's things like that where it gets tricky and you have to pay attention. So this is that. Again, it's 107 of the Copyright Act about fair use. It's good information to know. The reason I'm doing this, I try to keep this channel away from pushing advocacy and such, but I've been dealing with this so much for so long. I'm tired of YouTube doing it. The latest two I've had being with one of my how-tos, my last how-to on making titles, and my review on Death Note were complete bullshit claims and complete bullshit attempts, and I am very sick of it, and people need to arm themselves with this knowledge, with this understanding, so that way, one, we do stop any abuse, and maybe YouTube will lighten up on how difficult they make it for those who are accused to defend themselves, because typically they're wrongfully accused. People are copyright claim happy, and a lot of times they claim false, and nothing happens for it. Or we need to make sure that we know how to better defend ourselves against this, because people, like you saw, I had Nintendo, I've had Disney claim. That's really hard to defend. Those are companies that have teams of lawyers. If it came down to that, And it's very unfair to have to defend yourself when you are in the right against a corporation that has quite a bit of financial power. And what's even worse, I'm playing these games as a fan, as a consumer of their content. To think get slapped in the face with that's pretty ridiculous. So I know fair use is coming on YouTube, but I wanted to do this so you guys know how to deal with fair use on YouTube. If you guys like it, give that like button a nice good game on this top little button, smack and all that shit. You know to check the description for all the friends, all the videos, and the links, all the stuff, including Patreon. I only got 2 patrons, myself and another MPM person, so come on, join us. You know, obviously us two have good perks to happen too. Of course, the biggest thing is to subscribe. It's the best way to help me grow. You're more than welcome to share. I enjoy the free publicity. If you can't help monetarily, please just share me. Please spread me around to people you think might like it. It's what really helps channels grow. The sharing of channels, especially because YouTube's algorithm is so... Sharing of content is really the only way to help it grow. And we do rely a lot of times on... we entirely rely on you, the viewer, to do that. So it's all appreciated. Thank you so much. And of course, you guys have a good fucking day. Bye.